I've worked the midnight shift at Rosie's Diner for 6 years now. You get used to certain things: drunk college kids, sad truckers, the way the silence feels heavier around 3 a.m. But nothing prepares you for real fear. Not the kind that clings to your bones, not the kind that follows you home. It started like any other Thursday. I clocked out at 2:08 a.m., still smelling like coffee and burnt bacon. My usual route was down Old County 17, what the locals call Hunger Road. I never thought much about the name, thought it was just local folklore. Kids disappearing, strange lights, whispers in the fog, stories for tourists. That night, I should have taken the main highway. The sky was this dull, colorless black, no stars, just a blanket of fog thick enough to choke you. My headlights could barely cut through it. The trees lining the road looked like dead fingers reaching for the sky. I remember glancing at my gas gauge, hovering just above E. Then I saw it. An old gas station glowing in the distance like a dying ember. It sat crooked on the side of the road, the parking lot cracked and eaten by weeds. One ancient pump, a grimy little convenience shack behind it. The sign buzzed faintly, open, flickering like it didn't believe itself. I pulled in. The place felt wrong, not scary exactly, just off, like time didn't move there, like nothing ever had. I stepped out of the car, the air colder than it should have been, my breath fogged instantly. No music, no insects, just the pump's slow chug and the electric hum of the dying light. Then I saw him, standing at the edge of the tree line, where the woods start swallowing the asphalt. A man, tall, too tall. His clothes were dark, almost part of the shadows, but formal, outdated. Long coat, stiff collar, boots that looked hand-stitched. I thought maybe he was homeless, or lost, but he wasn't moving, just watching. His face was so pale it almost glowed, and his eyes, dark, so dark they didn't catch the light. He didn't blink, didn't shift, just stood there, like a painting of a man staring into a burning building. I looked away, focused on the pump, told myself I was just tired. People see things when they're alone at night. When I glanced back, he was gone. I don't mean he walked off or ducked behind something. He just wasn't there anymore. I froze. My keys trembled in my hand. I scanned the woods, but the fog had swallowed everything. My brain tried to reason. He walked away fast, or I imagined it, or maybe he never existed, but I didn't imagine the voice. "You should leave." It came from behind me. I spun around. No one. Just my car, the pump, the flickering sign. I dropped the nozzle, gas still dripping onto my boots. My hand shook as I climbed back into the car and locked the doors. I didn't even bother with my seatbelt, just started the engine. I told myself I was being paranoid. Too much caffeine, too little sleep, but something had changed. The road felt wrong, heavier, like the shadows were watching. And the worst part? The further I drove, the more I felt it. That I wasn't alone anymore. The road just kept going. Trees blurred by like black skeletons and the fog only got thicker. My headlights barely lit 5 feet ahead, and that feeling, that awful weight in my chest, tightened, like something was in the back seat watching me breathe. I tried the radio. Static. Then a voice broke through. Soft at first. No music, no station ID, just whispers. "Turn around." I changed the station. More static. Then laughter. Distant, childlike, but wrong. That's when I saw him again. A man standing in the middle of the road. Same coat, same height, same dead white face. He didn't flinch when my headlights hit him. Didn't shield his eyes, just stared. I slammed the brakes and swerved. Tires screeched. I missed him by inches. When I looked back, my rear view was empty. No figure, no trace. Like he'd melted into the fog. I pulled over. My hands were slick with sweat. I told myself I'd imagined it. My brain grasped for logic. Maybe it was a deer, a sign, a shadow. Then I saw the scratches. 4 deep, narrow gouges down the passenger side window. long like fingernails dragged through frost. But I hadn't heard anything, no impact, no screech, just silence. I tried calling my sister. She usually stayed up late. Just hearing her voice would ground me. But all I got was this warped, garbled noise, like something breathing through the speaker. Then a whisper just before the call dropped. "They're waiting." I threw the phone onto the passenger seat. Then I noticed something else. The road hadn't changed. I'd been driving for 15 minutes, but I was still passing the same road sign. Garrison, 12 miles. Again and again. I passed it a third time and realized I wasn't moving forward. The world was looping. I hit the gas, 60, 70, 80, trees flying past like teeth in a blender of fog. That's when I saw the lights, a car, behind me, no headlights, just this slow creeping glow barely visible through the mist. I adjusted the rearview mirror, and that's when I saw it. Not a car, a figure, running, keeping pace with me at 70 miles per hour, arms unmoving, coat fluttering, face like a corpse dredged from a frozen lake, skin stretched thin, black veins rising beneath it. Its eyes locked with mine through the mirror, no pupils, just oily black voids. And its mouth, it began to open, wider, too wide, like it was unhinging its jaw, preparing to feed. I looked away, slammed the gas, 90, the engine howled. Then the fog parted, just for a second, and the road ahead bent in a way that didn't make sense. Like it was curving into itself, like I was about to drive into the throat of something massive and invisible. I jerked the wheel, heart racing, eyes wide, and there they were. Figures, dozens of them, lining both sides of the road. Men, women, silent, pale, their mouths just slightly open, all standing completely still. Some barefoot, some in hospital gowns, some with red liquid dried on their shirts. Watching. I felt it then. Not fear, something worse. Recognition. You've been here before. I didn't remember stopping. I didn't remember pulling over, but my car was no longer moving. I was just sitting. The dashboard flickered. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so tight I could feel my nails cutting into my palms. Then came the knock. I turned slowly. Nothing. No one there. But in the condensation on the glass, a symbol. 2 perfect puncture marks, as if something had pressed a jaw gently, lovingly, against the window. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even blink, because whatever was out there, it had found me. Something's wrong with the road. I drove for hours, at least it felt like hours, but I never left. Every tree, every curve, every dead deer on the shoulder repeated like a film reel stuck in place. My phone battery had died. The gas gauge dropped steadily. I should have been back in Garrison before dawn, but the sky never lightened. It just got darker, like time itself was starving. I passed the same crooked speed sign 4 times, 45 miles per hour, watch for wildlife. I started counting cracks in the asphalt, 512, then again, 512. That's when I realized I wasn't breathing normally. My chest ached, tight and hollow, like my lungs weren't working right. And my wrist, there were 2 marks, small, circular, side by side. I pressed on them. No pain, just cold. Memories started unraveling, disconnected images like dreams, a face in the fog, hands holding me down, a voice. Drink, drink. I blinked and saw red liquid. Not a hallucination. Not a dream. My hands were stained. Faint streaks of red under my nails. A metallic taste on my tongue I couldn't place. That's when I passed the gas station again. Same cracked pavement, same flickering sign, open. But this time it was glowing bright. And the man from the woods, he was standing directly in front of the pump, as if he'd been waiting for me. I didn't stop. I couldn't. My brain screamed to keep moving, but the road, it changed. The fog split like curtains, and suddenly I was back on that same stretch where I'd seen the figures. But now they were closer, lining the shoulder mere feet from my car, dozens of them, more than before. Some looked half decomposed, others fresh, eyes open, blank, mouths parted, like they were mid-breath. Blood caked their collars, dried like rust. Some were children. One looked like a nurse. Another wore a sheriff's badge. Their necks, all marked. They didn't move, but I knew they could. I screamed, just screamed, a sound that barely felt like mine. It was primal, animal, and I think that's when they heard me. Because the fog changed. It thickened, fast and heavy, curling around my car like smoke. The engine sputtered, lights dimmed, and ahead, headlights. Two white orbs piercing the fog. A vehicle. My heart leapt. A rescue. I slowed as it approached. A black and white cruiser, sheriff's department. I pulled over, rolled down the window. The deputy stepped out. Tall man, hat low over his eyes, badge on his chest, no flashlight. He walked up slow, deliberate, like he already knew what he'd find. I opened my mouth to explain, to beg, but then he looked at me, and I saw his eyes. Black, no whites, no soul. His mouth was slack, lips parted, just slightly like the others. And I knew. He wasn't here to help. He leaned in, close enough that I could see the vein pulsing in his neck, only it wasn't pulsing. It wasn't moving at all. He whispered, "You shouldn't be out here, not now," and then he was gone. Not walked away, not stepped back, just vanished. My hands gripped the wheel, knuckles white. I couldn't breathe, couldn't scream. The fog around me pulsed like a heartbeat that didn't belong to me. Then something new. From the trees, a shape stepped out. Not human, not completely. Arms too long, spine curved like a question mark. It smiled at me, wide, fanged, beautiful, and monstrous all at once. Its skin shimmered like oil on water, and I realized I was never meant to leave this road. It had chosen me, and now it was feeding time. I don't know how long I drove after that. The road had stopped making sense. It wasn't a line anymore. It was a circle, or a trap, or a throat. Every turn felt like it swallowed me deeper. The trees started thinning, the fog gave way, and then I saw it. A town, out in the middle of nowhere. My car died at the edge of the main street. Everything went quiet. Not silent, just dead. No wind, no crickets. Even the fog hung still, like it was holding its breath. The town looked untouched and yet centuries old. Storefronts with glass intact, a diner with menus still in the windows, a church with a cracked bell tower. But everything was off. No dust, no decay, no sound, like a photograph that had been waiting for someone to enter it, like it had been waiting for me. I walked on foot, past a barber shop with scissors frozen mid-snip, a pharmacy where bottles stood neatly aligned. I heard nothing but my own heartbeat. Then I reached the church. Its doors were wide open, no locks, no sign of struggle. Inside, they were waiting. People. Dozens of them seated in the pews, like a congregation, but none of them moved. Their eyes were open, wide, blank, their bodies stiff, mouths slightly agape, bloodless. Some I recognized from missing person flyers back at the diner. Others looked like they'd been dressed for a funeral and never left. At the altar stood a man. The man. The one from the gas station, from the road, from the edge of the woods. He looked immaculate, like he'd stepped out of a portrait in a forgotten museum. Skin smooth, pale like moonlight on fresh snow. Black hair slicked back and bloodshot red eyes. He smiled at me. Not cruel, not kind, just knowing. You made it. We were beginning to wonder. What is this place? He stepped down from the altar, moving without sound. His coat didn't rustle, his boots didn't echo, he just moved. A sanctuary for the forgotten, for the fed. You were delivered, not chosen, offered. I tried to back away, but my body wouldn't move. My legs felt heavy, numb, like the blood had already started leaving me. What do you want? His grin widened. We don't want, we hunger. Then they moved. The congregation, all of them. Necks craned toward me like puppets on invisible strings. Eyes locked onto mine, mouths widened, some groaned softly, others gurgled, their hands twitched like they remembered being alive. That's when I ran. Through the church, out into the town. The fog closed in again like a living thing. I didn't know where I was going, just away. Away from the altar, away from those eyes. I tripped over something, a body, fresh, still warm. A woman, maybe 30, a nurse's badge clipped to her torn scrubs. Her neck was open, clean punctures, no blood. I screamed and stumbled back. And that's when the fog parted and I saw the truck. Rusty, keys still in the ignition. As if someone had tried to flee and didn't make it. I climbed in, prayed, turned the key. Headlights burst to life, and there he was on the hood. The man, the monster. His face inches from the windshield. His grin was wider now. Inhuman. His mouth opened, long fangs sliding down like ivory knives. He slammed a hand on the glass, cracking it. His other hand scraped down the driver's side with claws like obsidian. I screamed, floored the gas. The truck lurched forward. He rode it like a predator, fingers clawing at the roof. Then, just before the edge of the fog, he let go. Not because I'd escaped, because I was meant to leave, but I didn't feel relief. I felt cold, colder than before. Because now I knew what waited behind the fog, and that it had already touched me. I woke up in my own bed. I don't remember getting there. 1 second I was speeding through the fog in that rusted truck, blood on my hands, a monster on the windshield, and the next, I was under a blanket, in my pajamas, at home. The sun was shining through the curtains like it had always been there. The birds were chirping. My cat meowed from the hallway. For a moment I believed it, that it was a dream, that I'd fallen asleep at the wheel, that none of it was real, until I looked at my wrist. 2 perfect puncture marks. Small, pale, healed. Too healed. I didn't remember being bitten, but the marks were there, centered, deliberate, as if someone had kissed that spot and drained me slowly. My first instinct was to call someone. The police, my sister, a hospital, but my phone was on the nightstand, screen cracked, battery dead, just like on the road. And then I noticed my boots, still by the door, drenched in mud, dried blood on the soles. I hadn't imagined it. I walked to the bathroom, turned on the light, looked in the mirror. I didn't recognize the eyes looking back. Not right away. There was something off. The whites of my eyes were slightly gray. The veins around my irises were darker, branching like spider webs. I looked tired. No, withered. like something inside me had been drained and filled with ice. That's the part no one tells you about. It crept in slow. Not pain, not desire. Just a void, an emptiness behind my ribs that food couldn't fill. Water didn't help. Coffee made it worse. I tried meat, raw, just a bite, out of desperation. I hated it, but my body didn't. And when I looked at my reflection afterward, I smiled. Not with joy, with recognition. I don't sleep much anymore. Every night, the whispers come. Every night, I wake up somewhere else in the house. Once I found myself standing at the front door, hand on the knob, smiling, waiting. Last night I checked the news. 3 disappearances reported near Old County 17, all on the same night, all after 2 a.m., all still unsolved. No bodies found. The authorities dismissed it. Poor weather conditions, they said, thick fog, likely accidents. But I know better. They were fed. And I was spared. Not out of mercy, out of design. They didn't kill me. They changed me, little by little, a piece at a time. I don't know what I'm becoming, but I know what they are. They are not just legends. They are not just monsters. They are waiting. In the fog, in the roads we don't remember taking, in the spaces between where we were and where we think we are. And now, they're in me. I don't dream anymore. I hunger. So if you ever find yourself driving on Hunger Road after midnight, if the fog rolls in and the radio goes dead, if you see a gas station where there shouldn't be one, don't stop. Don't look at the man in the woods. And whatever you do, don't let them feed. Because if they do, you might make it out, but you'll never make it back. We're still hungry.
Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in your nightmares.